Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Hindsight Podcast. Always a pleasure to come back on set and, of course, talk about all the things that have transpired for the last couple of days. And to be honest, I feel like we should record earlier because I think we are 2 days late every time we record. So we'll try and fix that for everybody who spends their time and their data to, of course, subscribe to the podcast and say a thing or two about the podcast. Welcome to the Hindsight Podcast. Lakon Rifai is here, Nyoba Monday, and IBK makes a show in a second time in a row, which is fantastic. IBK, good to have you back on the show.
Thank you very much.
I think I can say that for at least a month before we can stop saying that. You know when you get back to your house from... did you go to boarding house?
Yeah, all my life.
You go boarding house, right?
All my life.
You know when you just return from boarding house? The first
3
days.
Let's say 1 week. You don't go wash plates.
No, 1 week is too long. No, your house very lenient. 1 week is too long. The first 3 days.
You don't go wash plates.
You be like celeb. You get. You know, they wake you up for money. For money, they will let you sleep.
I can't relate.
God,
I can't relate.
Not true.
You know, all those things. We say you won't watch something. We say
They go say you don't lean. You need to eat well. You need to do this one.
Like say you come back on Monday morning. By Thursday, if you never the wash car,
yes, no, but that's like even
if you never go market by that time, your parents are very the most liberal parents. So for a month, we will still they give you this thing.
I deserve one.
A month, 2 months. For me, I've not been on this show for 3 weeks now.
3 weeks.
You cannot welcome me.
No,
Nasi finish.
Nasi finish, bro.
You moved apartments. How far in this war economy?
Bros,
you don't go show us as this thing they go.
You didn't
We
find
come here, they form humble.
Do you have a
find soap.
Do you have a garden
soap
now?
and
You get a garden now. Do you have a garden? Do you have a nice garden?
No, be only garden.
Do you have a balcony?
You don't know James Gardner.
Do you have a balcony?
Bolaji, my guy. Oh, I'm gonna miss Bolaji. Yay. Bolaji is wow. No. You just refreshed my memory. Bolaji was a hard tackler. Absolutely cracking lad. I miss Bolaji. You know, Bolaji used to give me premium content in the middle of the park.
I feel like where I stay,
and he goes on the nutmeg at times.
where I stay at the moment, I kind of hate the fact that we don't have a balcony.
Yeah.
So everything I do is from the window.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is that it's the top floor. I don't know how architects in Nigeria they behave. How you go build top floor house, no balcony space? Like, it doesn't make any sense. But anyway, there's that. I wanted to start by speaking about the Nigerian league. I think a couple of teams are in preseason, and there's a story that caught my eye. I wanted to speak to you guys about it. I think we've spoken about this in the group already, and it's about cause and effects and the consequences of action. So cause and effect, actions and consequences. I say that because when you look at the bigger story as far as managerial transfers, you see Fatai Osho just moved to Rivers United from Eyimba. And myself and Ini Rufai as well, we speak about growing the industry structure or building a semblance of a structure, not just in broadcast media, sport broadcast media, but also in Nigerian football industry, from a coaching point of view, from a league manager's point of view to administrators to the PFA's point of view, player association point of view. I think that we don't have well-formed structures that allow for you to metric the league. So, for example, you can't walk to anybody and say, what is the going rates for a right back in Nigeria? The Nigerian league. You can't say how much does Mfonodo's range of player earn. So there's no structure. You can't metric it. That's why we don't have data for the Nigerian league. So Fatai Osho moves to Rivers United, and we didn't hear a story that there's an exit of the other manager. Normally when a manager moves to another club, there's a vacancy. But in Nigerian football parlance, we know that, they say, when they hire you, they say you're the technical advisor.
Yeah.
Right? So except the previous manager, who is Stanley Guma, has moved into a football director's role, then there is a duplication of jobs. I don't know if you guys have any counter opinion.
Because there's a guy, because there were 2 appointments. Rivers United made 2 appointments.
Right.
They made Fatai Osho the chief coach of the team, and then there was Nduka Ndubisi as the technical director. Technical director of the club, which is what would be the football director at the club. Because before then, Nduka Ndubisi was the chief coach of the team, while Stanley Guma was the technical director of the team. That's what they call it around.
Technical director.
Yeah, technical. Yes,
No, that's certainly one was technical advisor.
advisor. Yes, technical
Yeah, that's
advisor. That's the word. So the conundrum here is we don't know who is
Who is doing what?
who is the manager of the team.
I'm a bit confused.
So his role, the role they gave Fatah Osho is chief coach
Yes.
of the team.
Yeah.
Right? If I'm not mistaken, because I chatted.
Yes, exactly. That's the job.
I chatted a friend of mine, Toby Samuel, who is shout outs to him. Gives his league a lot of eyeballs, at least from his following on social media. And I spoke to him because I wanted to have some breath on the conversation. And I think if I'm not mistaken, he said that's the role, chief coach. And I'm thinking, when we throw the names around, and I'm sure everybody that's associated with Nigerian football knows this already. We throw names around, technical advisor, this, that. But in the end, for example, when they brought Raw to the team, they say his role till today is technical advisor of the Eagles. But who is the assistant technical advisor? But
So
he
I don't
manages the team.
understand.
He manages the national team.
So I don't understand where, and I'm thinking that's where some of our listeners obviously will probably be confused. So just to think like a listener, why don't we simplify things? Who's the manager or the coach or the technique? Because you look at Gordon Roy is the guy.
Okay.
Sorry, Gordon Roy is the guy on the touchline on the match day. He's basically the guy in charge. He's the coach of the team. He's the manager of the team. The tactics of the team.
Because
he's the one on the touchline.
the problem here is the word manager.
Yeah.
Because we are more accustomed to manage our club football.
Yeah.
And our club, in European football, I mean. Our club football, when they say a guy is a manager of a football club, his job is much more than coaching. He does much more than coaching because from the way the grass on the pitch is cut, he has something to say about it. He oversees the under 23s, the reserves, what is going on there. He has people who are working under him. He oversees the entirety of the football club. So he's not just
the football of the club.
Yes. So he's not just the manager of the first team or the guy who is the coach of the first team. He oversees the entire football part of the club. So
can we use examples? Because this is where it makes more sense.
Because when you hear Arsene Wenger, manager, you hear Sir Alex Ferguson, manager. Sir Alex Ferguson will sanction loan moves. I want you to go here.
He gets involved in
I want you
transfers.
to go here. That's the job of a manager. A coach doesn't do that because there are other people who can function in those capacities.
So what I hear you say is let's talk about football eras, right? I don't think there's anybody at the moment that is the manager of a football club
Okay.
in European football.
Now?
Yeah.
I still think they operate. I
think it's semantics, right?
Okay.
More semantics, but in Sir Alex's time, the roles there were not a lot of specific roles.
Yeah.
Right. So
Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
so you have to. So once you give the guy a manager role,
He basically will do a lot of
basically
things.
It was multitasking a lot of things.
It was basically absolute power.
Absolute power, right?
Yeah.
So you could do anything. So I mean, this is the guy you go to. If you need something to be done, go to this guy. And with execution of roles and responsibility, you become. Everybody knows that you are the guy to go to. With the evolution of football positions, director of football came in, first team coach came in, fitness this thing came in. There was a need to break the roles down to smaller roles, and in doing so, unburden the job of a manager.
Coach, yeah.
So, for example, now, Jose Mourinho at Roma is the head coach. Mourinho at Roma is the head coach.
Okay.
Right? He's not the manager of Roma. You get. However, because the first team is the apex of AS Roma's football structure, automatically the organogram, everybody under the first team, second team coach reports to him.
Yeah.
But he doesn't manage them. So let's go back to the original.
But I think
They were appointed the same way he was appointed.
Appointed
Yeah.
the was
Club
appointed, you
directly.
understand? So let's go back to the original conversation.
Yeah.
In Nigeria, when you call somebody technical advisor, right? Let's adjust to that word. What it means is that the person is the head coach of the team.
Yes, obviously.
Right?
Yeah.
Obviously. But it doesn't also mean that the person is
The overall.
Because
because the clubs have boards the clubs are run by boards.
Yeah.
By the state governments. And those boards have chairmen. Those chairmen are what I would call director of football.
The overseer.
Or whatever it is,
So
So the chairman of the board in the states would be, for example, Ed Woodward.
Okay.
The owner of the club will be the state government.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
The technical advisor will be the head coach. So the point I was...
So how do you now separate in this case?
Wait. I hear what you're saying. You makes a lot of point because why I'm thinking it's not the same with Rivers United because the job here. I know 2 appointments were made, like I said earlier, but the most celebrated appointment was a Fatai Osho because he came from Eyimba.
Yeah,
you've got a big coach from Eyimba to come in. Ndukan Dubisi is not so much of a name in football circles. So if Ndukan Dubisi is the technical director of the club and Fatai Osho is the chief coach, who then is the boss here?
Let's make it simpler.
Exactly.
Who picks the team on a match day?
Yeah,
Who trains the team?
Exactly.
Right? A lot of people say the trainer. In Europe, that's the trainer of the team. The trainer of the team is the head coach, right?
Now,
who trains the
trainer
team?
of the team? I don't think also.
No, relax. I know where you're going.
I'm loving this. I'm loving this.
Spend a lot of time with me. I know where you're going. Right.
Who's this?
No,
Get out of here.
Make him talk with him one time.
Leave this boy. This
So
boy is too proud. We need to sort that out.
with Jose, for example, and because I follow Jose a lot, I kind of stalk a bit of off-field activities he does. For a guy like Jose trains the team, but also there are specific things that he doesn't touch.
Okay.
So in terms of the drills, the fitness drills, he doesn't touch that because he's not an expert in that. He oversees them. They report to him.
Yeah, they report to him.
So in terms of trainer, you can say when you say trainer, there are a couple of people that train the team.
Yeah.
But in overall, the global perspective is that the trainer of the team is Jose Mourinho because everybody reports to him. What I want to piggyback from is to understand the roles of Nigerian football and the ascendancy or descendancy of the roles. We want to know who picks the team on a match day. When we piggyback to training sessions, who handles training sessions? We piggyback to transfers.
Because the guy who handles training session in terms of hierarchy.
In Rivers' case, who handles training sessions?
That's what I'm saying. The guy who handles training session would be the guy to pick the team, right? Because he's the one who understands tactics.
No, he's the one that's setting the tactics,
exactly.
The bluepeint of the team. This is where I want this person to play. This is where I want to play.
So because that's not a job you give to someone, because in the end, you want to pick a side.
For me,
you want to pick a side knowing, okay,
the reason this conversation is on the table, right? And it's important to reemphasize this is when a guy moves from Eyimba, if a guy rises from the ranks to Eyimba's head coach, what it means is that he's one of the best coaches in the country.
Absolutely.
When that same manager makes a move across town to Rivers and takes in what I know at the moment to be either a demotion or the previous manager is no longer handling the affairs of the football matters. So it's 2 things now. Either he has been demoted, he's working under somebody.
He's working under Stanley Egumo.
Under Stanley Egumo. What that does to the overall structure of coaching in the country is that you can't place real value on one individual.
I think for me
it stunts the growth of the industry.
If that's the case, if truly Fatai Osho has been demoted, I would look at him personally. For me, I would never understand why you would take that kind of job anyway. Because going from Eyimba, he took Eyimba to the continent, right? He's been with them for how long? And Eyimba is the biggest club in the land. So if you've handled Eyimba as a top guy, why would you go work under Stanley Egumo, who, yes, he has been at Rivers United for a long time, but hasn't really...
Hi there. Thanks for watching us on YouTube. Please leave a subscribe on the channel, The Hindsight Podcast, and also on Instagram at The Hindsight Podcast. It's the same on Twitter as well. Leave a like, a retweet, or a comment. We'll see you soon.